Hello happy souls, welcome back to my channel. This is Charlotte with Happy Twins 1111. Beautiful friends, I've got 3 paths for you today, and we are asking what is in their head and what is in their heart. How are they thinking versus how they are feeling? We're going to go really in depth with this today. We're going to use the oracle cards and the charms as well, and there will be an extended reading if this resonates for you. So hold your person in mind, take a nice long deep breath for me before you choose a pile. And there's no right or wrong way to choose. Just see which one you're drawn to, and you can see which crystal you're drawn to as well. And if you're drawn to more than one, it just means that there's messages in more than one pile for you. So in pile 1, we've got the Elemental Power Tarot and Strawberry Quartz. In pile number 2, we've got the Lioness Oracle with Yellow Calcite. And in pile number 3, we have the She-Wolf Tarot with Carnelian. So the timestamps are in the description box below. That will take you straight to your pile, and I will see you there. Hello pile 1, welcome to your reading. You have chosen the Elemental Power Tarot and this really beautiful piece of Strawberry Quartz, and we are asking today what is in your person's head versus what is in their heart. What are they thinking? What are they feeling about you, this connection, and what's going on between you two? So we're going to get all the details for you. We're going to get the oracle cards out as well, and definitely some charms, so stay tuned and just take a nice long deep breath whilst I'm shuffling. Hold the person you're inquiring about in mind. Set the intention that you're open and ready to receive the messages that are meant for you. And you can also ask for a sign if that feels good to you. A sign just helps us to validate the messages that come forward, and whatever sign you choose, it may present outside of this reading as well. You know, you may notice that sign that you choose show up in other areas of your life, and a sign can be anything at all. It could be a symbol, an object, an animal, a name, a phrase. It could be a place or numbers, whatever works well for you. So what is in your person's head versus what's in their heart? Pile 1. Let's do this. Okay. So we're going to start with what's in their head. I don't know what this card is. I've used this deck before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 wands. Maybe it's the 7 of wands. It doesn't have any numbers on it. Yeah, that's the 10 of Pentacles. And that's the 7 of Pentacles in reverse. And what's in their heart? Again, I don't know what the hell that is. I'm going to have to get the book out. The Tower in reverse. The Hanged Man. I don't remember these cards. I've used this deck before. Let's have a quick look, see. Ah, right, no, I do remember using it now. They have these funny little symbols for the corpse. Let's see if we can work out which is which. Right, so the round one is the page. You know, this is my pet hate with decks, when it's not obvious what the card is. Right, so this is the Page of Wands. And this is, that's Pentacles, isn't it? Page of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles. I'm so sorry about that. It's very irritating when a tarot creator doesn't make that clear. So Page of Wands, Queen of Pentacles there. So what's in their head versus what's in their heart? Let's get some oracle cards here as well. I'm going to start off with the Divine Feminine, Divine Masculine Reunited deck. We've got Communion, Karma, God of Awakening, and for what's in their heart, we've got Transcendence, Goddess of Strength, Mary Magdalene, and Selfhood. Okay, I'm going to get way more out as we go, but let's start where we are. What's in their head? The Page of Wands is someone that doesn't want to commit, and yet this is a complete contradiction to the Ten of Pentacles coming up here, which is very much a union energy. But this, of course, is clarifying the karmic card, and, you know, the Page of Wands is clarifying communion. And so it feels like this person is really torn. Likely they have a family already, maybe perhaps they're married or have another partner. But for sure, there is a third party situation here, as demonstrated in this karmic card. But there is a lot of passion and a lot of desire to come forward towards you also. When the Seven of Pentacles comes up in reverse, this is someone that doesn't want to wait, doesn't want to invest and take their time. It's kind of a rushing energy. And as is the Page of Wands, you know, when the Page of Wands is coming up with communion, this is someone that really wants to be with you. You know, but it may be a very physical or sexual desire that's pulling them towards you, because we can see that at the moment their commitment is to this karmic partner, you know, that they feel they need to kind of be here in this stability, in this commitment. But God of Awakening, for me, and the fact that they're not invested in this, really demonstrates how they are experiencing a lot of changes about their person. They're experiencing a lot of kind of weird spiritual synchronicities, but I'm feeling a resistance towards that. You know, they don't understand what it means. They don't like it. It makes them feel very much out of control. And so this person has a very conflicted mindset right now. You know, they're feeling the intense magnetism and pull towards you, the viewer, but they're also stuck in some kind of third party situation, which they are indeed taking very seriously. And, you know, they're not prepared to move forward or make a decision either way. They're not invested in resolving this situation. And it feels like they're very much ignoring all of that kind of spiritual woo-woo stuff that's coming up and slapping them in the face. And I do feel it's very prominent. You know, this Raumaka, God of Awakening, I think he's a Maori warrior, Maori god. You know, he's in your face. Look at me. Ah, I'm here. So, you know, this person's definitely noticing that there's something otherworldly about the nature of this connection. You know, when it comes to feelings, we've got the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, and again, transcendence. This person doesn't want to cause any friction. You know, they're trying to be strong, they're trying to be stable. To me, this is someone who's very much trying to resist this connection that they're having with you, even though they feel very passionately about it, and there's this very strong pull towards this connection. You know, they are definitely of the heart and mind that they cannot commit here at the moment, that they need to try and transcend or get past what's been happening between you, because they're terrified of this tower coming down. You know, they're trying to be strong and trying to put the connection they're currently in first. Now, I know this isn't what you wanted to hear, but of course it's important to be real about where this situation is at. We're going to get some more cards to clarify this in a moment. But when the Hanged Man comes up and it's clarified by selfhood, you know, what this really does demonstrate, if this person feels like you are very much their champion, you champion them, you know, you make them feel like a hero. It feels like you guys have been very good friends at some point, and certainly it feels like you've been present for them whilst they've been going through this difficult relationship issue, and perhaps you got closer than you were meant to. But when selfhood comes up, you know, this is someone that's trying to shift their perspective towards themselves. This is someone who's feeling and thinking about, what do I really want here? What do I want to happen? What makes me happy? Now, that is a sign of awakening. It's a positive step, because I feel like this relationship they're in was very much, I don't want to say arranged, although it could have been for some of you, but I feel like it's something that happened to them. It wasn't something that was planned. They kind of got caught up in the momentum of something when they were younger. This is where they are, and there's a lot of pressure for them to maintain that stability and the security of that connection. Perhaps they've been in that relationship a long time. You know, what they're feeling is they simply cannot cause ructions. You know, they're terrified of losing what they've already built up and created, even though they're feeling this magnetic pull towards you. They're trying to be really strong and trying to resist and trying to move on from this connection. So you may find that they're more distant than usual, they're less communicative. You know, I'm going to get some more cards here, but what I'm hearing is that this person is fighting a losing battle. You know, that's to say there's a deep spiritual connection here. They're feeling the impact of it. And even though it's calling them to assess their current reality and to make changes, they are very nervous and apprehensive about doing that. So it feels like this may be the early stages of your connection. You know, it's just starting to dawn on them that there is something deep and meaningful here, and that they feel so supported and so seen in this connection. You know, they feel there's a really deep mutual understanding here, which they really admire. Right, that's another card we don't know. I'm guessing it's the King, but I'm going to check the book. Right, so we've got the King of Pentacles, the Lovers, and the Seven of Wands. And here we have got, I believe that's the Knight of Swords in reverse, the Fool, and the Six of Swords in reverse. Let's get some more oracle cards. I'm going to go with the oracles of the 7 energies here. We've got Ears Wide Open, Call of the Muse, and Awakening Genius. So another awakening card in the same position. So interesting. A powerful move, a burst of magic, and feeling the world. These are such beautiful energies, Pile 1. I know this situation you're in is challenging and difficult, and it must be hard for you to hear how they're, you know, still being tugged in the direction of the karmic. But we can't deny here that this person is so very much inspired by you and the magic that's occurring between you. I just want to double check this card. I'm pretty sure it's the King of Pentacles, but I just want to make sure. Yeah, King of Pentacles in reverse. So that's really interesting because we had the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. We've got Ears Wide Open. You know, so in terms of what they're thinking, they're listening very carefully. The Lovers is about choices as much as it's about love. And we see here the Call of the Muse. You know, you really inspire them. The Muse suggests that you're inspiring them creatively. Perhaps they work in the creative field. But for sure, this person is absolutely torn about this. And when the Seven of Wands comes up again with this awakening energy, this is someone that's very defensive when it comes to thinking about the nature of this connection. They don't want this to be a soul connection. That terrifies them. It makes them feel out of control, or like they don't have a choice. And they can feel the energy of this connection running away with them, pulling them. And you know, with this fennec fox, the fox being a symbol of strategy, you know, this person's listening very carefully. They know they can't commit to you right now. You know, that when the King of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles comes up, this is someone that feels they can't commit to this, but they are feeling so very torn, so inspired and moved by this connection. And again, you know, when we have the Knight of Swords in reverse, they know they can't take action, and yet we have a powerful move here. You know, the Knight of Swords, when it's upright, is all about making moves. And so, you know, this is such a contradiction. It really demonstrates how this person is in two hearts and two minds. They, you know, they know what they should do, or what they think they should do, but they're really struggling to override the powerful impulse and magnetism that you know, draws them back to you. They're feeling that they want to make this powerful move forward, but there is an incredible amount of self-restraint and resistance. The Fool coming up here as a new beginning is beautiful. It's clarified by a burst of magic. And again, this connects to this energy of the muse, the energy of it being inspired to improve their lives, to improve themselves, to seek more joy by you and this connection. But they're not ready to move towards you, but they're not going away either. You know, when the Six of Swords comes up in reverse as feelings, this is someone that thinks, well, I probably should move away, but I'm not going to. However, what's really interesting to note about feelings is they're not very feely. You know, we have no cups here. All of the energies are very practical, very pragmatic. You know, we've got lots of swords, we've got 3 major arcanas, which means this is a big deal that's really leaning in on them. And look, feeling the world. You know, they really do think the world of you. I'm hearing they really wish they'd met you sooner. They wish they'd met you when they were free and single, and this could have just been so much easier. You know, they're really reflecting on the decisions they've made and the paths they've taken, and they're wondering how different their life might have been if they'd waited. I do think they settled. It was that kind of energy, well, you know, maybe this is as good as it gets and I'm just going to settle for what's here. And now that they're kind of in that predicament, the idea of moving themselves out and away from it is really challenging. And this is such an interesting Lovers card, because we see one side is all decorative and fancy, and the other side is all about duality. You know, the twin flamey nature of the connection, light and dark, identifying the shadow aspects of self and stepping into the light. They are very inspired by what you've brought to the table, and I feel that you have discussed spiritual matters with them. You've discussed your own healing, your own growth. You know, this person definitely sees you as someone to aspire to be like. You know, they're observing how you interact with the world and your own environment, and they're so very impressed. You know, it's a very, very strong creative urge that is born of these feelings as well. We've got the dog, the 10 of Cups, the clover, the six of Wands, and the lady, which is the Ace of Swords. In their heart, wow, we've got the gentleman, the Ace of Cups, the lady and the gentleman. This is beautiful. We've got the grave, the 9 of Wands. And we've got the clouds, the King of Pentacles coming up right this time, and that's the number 6. I want to get some animal cards here as well. Where are my animal cards? I'm sure I brought some out. Where have I put them? Maybe I didn't. Not here. Okay, we'll get some angels and ancestors cards instead. For those of you looking for signs, we've got a dog here. We've got a little fox. We've got an owl here. I knew that before I turned it over, but I was actually referring to the owl on the back. So we've got the shaman, trust in higher forces, fire guardian, ignite your passions, and broken arrow, embrace the energy of peace. We've got father sky, trust in the unknown, an eagle there. Stargazer, set your sights higher, and water guardian, connect with your emotions. Bear with me, I'm going to grab the animal cards as well. Whew, okay. So, you know, they really are torn. All of these cards that come through, you know, the problem is they've met you and they feel like, oh my God, I've met my soulmate. This is what love and companionship is meant to feel like. You know, there's these higher forces at work here, and they feel that. They don't want to acknowledge it, but they certainly feel it. Now, the 6 of Wands is all about triumph. They feel very lucky to have met you. You know, you have really ignited their passions here with this fire guardian energy, and they really think of you as the lady, the truth of what femininity is. You know, the lady in the 8 combined with the Ace of Swords energy is connected to truth, power and communication, and they love the way you two can just communicate and the energy flows between you. The conversation just moves so perfectly. You know, they love how peaceful this connection feels, and it hasn't yet been rocked by any serious or unpleasant conflict. And this demonstrates a great deal of trust, because what they're seeing here is that, you know, even though this situation feels somewhat impossible right now, they just feel so at peace within it. They recognize you as being such a stable and balanced energy in their life. And that's something that's such a novelty for them. They've never met anyone that understood them like you understand them. For feelings here, the gentleman and the Ace of Cups is so powerful. And what I'm hearing is that when you two are together, you know, they really feel like they can step into their divine masculine energy, and they feel that you are the epitome of divine feminine energy. You know, this is the heart overflowing. And we say here, connect with your emotions. And I'm hearing that this person's been disconnected from their emotions for a really long time. They're trying their hardest to trust in the higher forces. We've got 2 cards here about trust. This one, Father Sky, trust in the unknown. And this is about tapping into that higher perspective and trying to feel the truth in that. You know, they don't want to give up on this connection. Even though the grave suggests an ending, the 9 of Wands is all about an endurance. You know, and it says here, set your heights higher. And this is why they're so torn. You know, their head is telling them, you've got to stay where you are. You can't disturb the stability there. You can't disrupt, you know, that commitment that you've made. Whereas this part of them, you know, their heart is saying, but what if there's something more beautiful and more worthy of your attention out there? You know, what if this is the one and you're just going to pass it by? And we've got the King of Pentacles. Now, remember, it came up reversed in their head, but their heart reveals how they really feel about this. You help them connect with their emotions, and they can't but help but think, and this is a number 6, also the number of the Lovers, they can't help but think that maybe, you know, they'd be passing up something really special because they've never felt connected to their heart space. Now, this is uncomfortable for them. You know, I'm hearing that they're not entirely in tune with their heart and emotions, and it makes them feel very vulnerable, but it also makes them feel alive. They're feeling the magic that flows between you there. So we've got snow leopard, mountain goat, and camel, and over here we've got emu, elk, and tortoise. That was my belly rumbling. I don't know if you heard it. And from the Gods and Titans deck, ooh, we've got Prometheus, altruism, Jizo, support, Hermes, communication, Osiris, renewal, Lu, skill, and Dionysus, ecstasy. Okay, pardon me. You know, we had the energy of selfhood coming up in their feelings, and I think with this snow leopard, this says take some time out of your usual life and spend it in solitude. And we've also got this energy of altruism here, and this is such a bizarre image because we can see here this man with no arms, and he's kind of holding this severed arm. I don't know how this is meant to demonstrate altruism. I'm not aware of the story of Prometheus, so perhaps I'm missing something there, but that might be an important sign or message for you. But it definitely feels like they're rethinking their whole life as a result of meeting you. They're assessing how they've conducted themselves in the workplace and how they've spent their time, and they're really seriously considering a change of direction because of the way you've inspired them. Certainly altruism is indicated, which is of course looking to do something for the greater good rather than just, you know, working for the sake of working. When the mountain goat comes through, this demonstrates a tremendous amount of drive and passion. Remember, it connects to Aries energy, and it says something's out of balance, so you need to do whatever you need to do to correct it. And we've got support here. You know, that they're trying to find some stability and support in the situation because they're so terrified of it running away with them. The camel says, trust that you have the resources to get you through the challenges before you. And Hermes is about communication. So this suggests to me that this person knows that they can't continue the way things are with the way things are. They have to make some changes. There's a need to communicate at some point, and it feels like there's a lot going on in their head about how to tackle that. You know, they recognize that this connection has created an imbalance in their life that they need to correct, not just in terms of the romantic liaison, but also in regards to who they are. So you've triggered, you know, deep layers of awareness in this person, and this is undoubtedly going to result in major changes in their life, regardless of what comes about between you and them. When we have emu in the feelings, and it says this is a good time to go on a new adventure in the energy of Osiris with renewal, you know, I think above all else, you just make them feel alive again. It feels like their life has been very boring and very plodding and very uninspiring for some time, and this is why they're afraid to let you go, because they appreciate so much all of the joy and all of the excitement and the sense of adventure that you've delivered into their zone of awareness. And with the elk, it says stand tall and maintain your dignity no matter what, and others will treat you with the respect that you deserve. And we've got skill here as well. So for sure, this demonstrates that they're feeling worried about being judged. You know, they're not sure how people are going to react if they move away from the connection they're in. And I'm hearing for some of you that that karmic connection is also tied up with business or work, which is why we've got this skill card here. But I think this is them feeling like, you know, I'm noting all of the blue energy in the tattoo in this deck, which for me is connected to truth. It feels like with communication coming through as well, that, you know, they're really feeling like they need to develop and the right terms, phrases, they need to figure out how to articulate the best way to communicate about this and how to hold their own dignity throughout it. Tortoise, you're too fragmented. So do whatever it takes to get you grounded. And then we've got ecstasy, you know, which is this is a very passionate energy that's coming through here, the energy of sexual union. And, you know, this is where they feel calm. This is where they feel comfortable and grounded. And so a part of them, you know, releases all of that kind of shame and guilt they feel at being in a third party situation, because they tell themselves, this is good for me. You know, this connection helps me feel more alive, more real, and more connected to the truth of who I am than any other. And so we can appreciate how challenging that must be also to sit with the energy of betrayal, you know, understanding that this can potentially hurt people, and it could potentially damage their reputation that they've worked hard to build. So, you know, they may be being very secretive about this, very concerned about getting caught out. I think likely they have expressed to you that, you know, I don't know how much longer I can do this. I need to make some changes. I don't know how to do that yet. I'm trying to figure it out. So you two could be on some kind of temporary break. But I think it's important to realize that this person really finds that challenging. You know, deep down, they know where they want to be. They're just very scared of making it happen. So we've got the shadow attribute of pioneer, the light attribute of liberator, light attribute of the rebel, shadow attribute of the prostitute, shadow attribute of the alchemist, and light attribute of the saboteur. Okay, now I'm going to get some more. Let's go with this divine feminine, divine masculine reunited cards. Goddess of destruction, Kali. God of protection, Anubis. Codependency. Openness. Joy. And Freya, goddess of sensuality. So the shadow attribute of the pioneer, compulsive need to keep moving on. And this is with the goddess of destruction, Kali. And this is what I mean about compulsive, impulsive. They can't resist this connection. However much they believe they should stop coming towards you and kind of bring things into balance in their existing connection, no matter how destructive they recognize this kind of betrayal is, they simply cannot help themselves. They can't help themselves but keep moving towards you, towards the light. In fact, you know, this is represented by that light bulb with all of that beautiful energy emanating for it. The liberator says, freeing yourself and others from outmoded beliefs, releasing negative thought patterns. And we've got Anubis, the god of protection here. Now, the liberator, for me, coming up in terms of what they're thinking, and this being a blue card, you know, when it says freeing yourself and others from outdated beliefs, this harks back to that arranged marriage energy that came through. As I said, this is a marriage that seemed to happen for them. It's not something they deliberately chose or planned. It's not like they fell head over heels in love and decided, oh my God, I've got to be with this person forever. It feels like it just kind of happened. Perhaps the family kind of arranged it or thought it was a good idea, and this person got carried away with the momentum of it. And so, you know, the jackal shows up here as well, which is also a symbol of betrayal. But when it comes through with Anubis, the god of protection, you know, this demonstrates that they do feel a little bit justified in liberating themselves. You know, you have definitely communicated with them about what it means to choose for yourself, to put yourself first, to prioritize your own happiness, your own well-being. And in this rebel card, challenges authority to effect social change, rejects spiritual systems that do not serve inner needs. And so again, this may have been a relationship that the religious or cultural beliefs of their family unit, you know, pushed forward, and they're now thinking, well, hold on a minute, this isn't what I wanted. This doesn't meet my needs. There's no real light or joy or passion in this connection, but I feel absolutely tied to it in bondage. We can see here they're chained together at the wrist, and that suggests that their free will has very much been overruled. So this person's, you know, I think it demonstrates a lot of integrity, that they do struggle, you know, with this act of betrayal, but they're also, you know, feeling, I think, quite indignant about, well, what about me? You know, I'm really resonating with this idea that I should choose what's right for me and what's happy for me. Why do I have to be stuck in this situation to please other people? That just doesn't feel good or appropriate to me. You know, the shadow attribute of the prostitute as feeling says places material considerations and security above self-empowerment. You know, and this is exactly what's happening here. You know, even though they're kind of resonating with this truth of I've got to do what's right for me, they feel very tied to the commitment and stability of that connection, and especially the financial stability that's been created by that union. You know, they wish they could have a more open relationship and kind of work with both energies, which I'm hearing is not something you'd be into anyway. But they're trying to find any which way to deal with this. Misuse of the power and knowledge that came through spiritual practice. So the alchemist, you know, this is an unusual card to be connected with joy. But I think this really demonstrates how, you know, the advent of their intuition has kind of maybe inspired them to recognize it as a power and maybe using it in ill-dignified ways. Perhaps that's part of their culture, but they're very excited to realize there's some magic and spiritual stuff here. Even though there's an avoidance and resistance towards it and it scares them, it also excites the ego. And so we see them, you know, trying to balance those two energies. The saboteur highlights your fear of self-empowerment and the changes it would bring into your life. And we've got Freya here, the goddess of sensuality, again over these cards that symbolize passion and emotion. You know, they feel like they can't win. You know, to move towards one bit of energy, which is brilliant, it feels like they have to sabotage something else. There is a bit of worries me energy around this. You know, it's kind of that energy of, oh, this isn't fair. Why is this happening to me? Why am I faced with such difficult choices? So a lot of contradicting energies between heart and mind, a lot of inner conflict. As I said, waking up, recognizing their intuition, perhaps even indulging it in some really, as I said, ill-dignified is perhaps too strong a word, but it feels like they're recognizing their power and perhaps using it, you know, in the wrong ways. But for sure, you know, they just want to be happy. They feel justified in, you know, having this openness to choose for themselves, and yet really it's not as open as they would like. There is so much fear here about choosing themselves. They're both inspired by it and terrified by it at the same time. So let's get some guidance cards for you as well. Pile one. What is the guidance for you specifically in terms of how you can best deal with the energies of this connection? Okay, so we've got the Six of Wands, we've got the Queen of Swords, the Page of Pentacles, I think that's the King of Cups in reverse. I'm just going to double check those, and that's the Knight of Wands in reverse and the Six of Cups in reverse. Let's get some of these as well. Angels and Ancestors Oracle, White Witch, be the light, Star Ancestor, follow the voice of your soul, Eagle, see from a higher perspective, the Lord, take charge with authority, High Priest, intend and create, Wise One, grow within your current situation. And let's just get some of these charms for you guys. Okay, got quite a few here. The blank piece of paper's come out, we'll keep that. Good vibes. The Sun. The Gramophone. The Crown. Paper Aeroplane. The Rainbow. Oh, more musical symbols. We've got the record or vinyl player. We've got the police car. I'm a stupid baby. Oh la la. And the Game Boy. And also these two tiny ones that have come through. This one is a gift, and this one is the little heart with a tiny hole in it. Okay, let me just quickly check. I think these are the King and Queen, but again, This bloody deck. Okay, so that is in fact the King of Swords. Let's see what that one is. I think that's the King of Cups. It is. That's the King of Cups in reverse. The King of Swords, King of Cups. So guidance for you, part 1. The Six of Wands asks you to trust in victory. And the King of Swords asks you to trust in the truth. Now, we've also got the Page of Pentacles here. So even though there's one here that says take charge with authority, you're guided to be very slow moving when it comes to planning and determining how to move forward. You know, but you can trust in victory. Trust that the truth will win out in this situation, but be slow moving and ensure that you've got a detailed perspective of this. You know, for the truth, you're being asked to connect to the voice of your soul, to be the light. We've got the owl and the butterfly here. You know, these are all symbols about nurturing your own growth and the connection to your own truth. When the King of Cups comes up in reverse, this is, especially as guidance, this is a warning against using the emotional depths and tension in this situation to your advantage. You know that your person is also facing a very personal inner struggle with this, because there's a desire here to start doing what's right for them. So you mustn't manipulate that to get what you want out of the situation. It says take charge with authority in the Lord. But as I said, when this Scorpio King of Cups energy is reversed, there's a danger there that it could be somewhat coercive and is exploiting the intensity of the energies present to steer things in the direction what they want. So I feel like this is more of a warning, you know, to be working from a place of truth and authenticity, the truth of your higher self, rather than, you know, taking control in a very domineering way. When the Page of Wands comes up in reverse, especially that we've got this Game Boy charm, this is again reminding you not to play games, that your thoughts and feelings, you know, manifest the situation. So you've got to be really careful and guard against those ill-dignified thoughts as well. The High Priest with this little hawk here asks you to intend and create. Owl energy has come through strong for you in this reading, and it says grow within this situation. When the Six of Cups comes up in reverse, this is suggesting that you don't make any offers. So, you know, it feels like the guidance for you is to sit tight, trust that the truth will prevail, you know, be in your own light, focus on connecting to your own higher perspective, be mindful of not playing games and exploiting the intense energies your person's experiencing, and to be mindful that you are manifesting, that thoughts plus belief equals creation. Don't make an offer now. Grow within the situation as it presents. And you've got this Raven energy down here as well. Certainly when this blank piece of paper comes up, for me, this is say nothing. You know, your messages need to be polite, friendly, light-hearted, but this is not a time to go deep. Now, your person very much feels very emasculated and inferior because they've ended up in this situation. And again, this is part of that intense energy you're being asked not to play with. You know, the crown has blown off the top of this situation. Both of you have a heightened state of awareness. There's so much good vibes, and like the sun is about joy and illuminating truth, and the rainbow is a beautiful symbol of hope. So even though this is not the situation or love you would have chosen for yourself, because of the challenging circumstances, you're being asked to recognize that it is a beautiful gift. You know, that this can and will work for you. The truth will prevail, but it's not your job to make it happen. It's your job to allow it to flow. A hole in the heart. You know, for me, this demonstrates that there's still a gap in the healing work each of you needs to do. For sure, for your person to rise up and meet this situation head on, they're going to have to develop enough desire to fulfill themselves, you know, and to move away from all of those challenging energies that are judging them. It's not an easy decision. When the police card comes up, I read it in a variety of ways, but in this situation, I feel like, you know, this person's past is informing their present, and they're very worried about how they're going to be judged, you know, how they're going to be, how they're going to be, perhaps the energy of being charged, of being accused, of being, you know, the perpetrator or the criminal in this situation. You know, they feel very bad about what's happening, and it's really important to make sure they have enough time and space to allow those energies to bring themselves into balance. Again, you're guided not to push this. Two symbols about music, the gramophone and the vinyl. When these come out, especially together, that's a very important sign that music reveals a lot of what's happening in this situation, and to pay special attention to the music they're sharing with you. There is a tremendous amount of power in this connection. And, you know, people are very moralistic about monogamy. But when I asked my guides about, you know, what about when someone has met their twin, they've met their soulmate, but there's an existing relationship in place, and my guide's response was, a soul contract is always bigger than a contract made by man with the energy of the ego and of the mind. You know, you could almost argue that the soul contract came first, and that that's the contract that should be honored. And sexual union in these kind of situations is incredibly bonding. It triggers the heart chakra in both counterparts. So energetically speaking, it's a positive thing to do. Now, you know, of course, there's a moral standpoint on this, and we should all behave as fairly in as much of a dignified manner as we can. But I'd like to remind you that you're not the person that made the commitment, and Spirit is saying you can release guilt. As long as you're not trying to manipulate and force this situation, this person has free will, they make their own choices, and you're being asked to roll with them as long as that feels good to you. There are some loving messages coming your way. They may be indirect, they may not be as detailed and intense as you would like, but this person's still finding that balance with their emotions and the spiritual nature of this connection. They're very intimidated by it. They feel very vulnerable, and there's this tremendous amount of reflection on the situation they're in, and as we saw, how they're going to be judged, penalized, or, you know, what people are going to be hurt as a result of their actions. So they really do need some space to process that. So I really hope that was helpful, part one. Thank you so much for joining me at my reading. If this resonated for you, you can find the link to the extended version of this reading in the description box below. That starts at just $3.33. You know, it's the same price as a cup of coffee. So there'll be more guidance there. We're going to get some messages from your person's higher self as well, to try and clarify their thoughts and feelings even more, and get more guidance about how you can move this forward and what's coming next. But thank you so much for joining me here. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you so much for your beautiful comments. I love to listen to your feedback, especially when you're telling me if it resonated or not. That's always really helpful for me, you know, to get a feel for how the reading's been received. And thank you so much to those of you that are so very generous in watching my commercials. That is such a perfect energy exchange, and I appreciate it so much. It really does help my channel to grow, because when you watch commercials, you know, you make YouTube a little bit of money. I get a tiny share of that, but it means that YouTube are more inclined to recommend my videos, and so, you know, these beautiful messages reach more people. So I appreciate that so much, and especially to those of you that send me decks and send me PayPal donations, your generosity is moving. Thank you so very much. Please remember to include a postal address if you send me a treat like that, so I can thank you properly with a handwritten note. But thanks for tuning in today, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hello, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading. You have chosen the Lioness Oracle Tarot and this lovely piece of yellow calcite. So we've got all the moons out for you. Although someone said on one of my previous readings that it looked like cheese. And it does look like cheese. Anyway, we are asking today, what is in your person's head and in their heart? What are they thinking versus what they're feeling? We're going to get all the details. We're going to use oracle cards. We're going to use charms as well. And of course, there will be an extended reading today if this resonates for you. So take your time thinking about your person. Take a nice, long, deep breath. Set the intention that you're ready to receive the messages from the universe that you need to really clarify, you know, what the situation is here, to help you move forward for your highest good and the highest good of this connection. I think I just lost my train of thought there. But yeah, we're going to get all of the details. You can ask for a sign as well. Now, a sign can be anything at all. It can be a symbol, an object, an animal, a phrase, a specific word or numbers or a colour, anything that feels really good to you. A sign just helps to validate the messages that come through, to help you trust which are meant for you and which aren't. Remember, this is a general reading, so take what resonates, leave what doesn't. You know, some people get really offended and they'll say in the comments, I am not like that. You don't know me. And you know what? You're right. I don't know you. This isn't a personal reading. So, you know, it's not going to be 100% accurate for your situation. But hopefully there's some valuable messages in here that are going to help you receive clarity and help you move forward in a more productive way. Okay, let's do this. Pile 2. What is your person thinking or feeling? We're going to look at what's in their head first versus their heart. Start with the head. We've got the Hermit, the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, and the 9 of Pentacles in reverse. And what's in their heart, please? We've got the 4 of Pentacles in reverse, the Hanged Man in reverse, and the Knight of Swords in reverse. Now, don't worry about reversals. It doesn't necessarily mean they're negative. It's just another way for me to read the cards. So we're just going to clarify these with some oracle cards as well. This is the Divine Feminine, Divine Masculine Reunited deck. We've got openness. We've got joy. And we have got codependency. We've got Goddess of Love, Hathor, the Rebirth, and Aries, God of Battle. So intense energies here now. What's in their head right now, and they've probably discussed this with you, is that they need some alone time. You know, they've probably been open with you about this. This is someone that feels they're not ready to commit to a relationship, that they need to be focused on themselves. It does feel like their work life is out of balance and that there's an unhealthy bondage as far as work's concerned. So this person's all about kind of recovering from something that's occurred in the past. Definitely it feels like there may have been a very stressful or turbulent career change here. Something's happened to destabilize this person's sense of financial security and their career. And so they're going through huge changes here, and they're still very attached to the idea of whatever label they held before no longer being theirs. The ego has been triggered in quite a profound way. So it does feel like this person, you know, just needs some space to just focus on kind of rebuilding their self-esteem. I do get such an intellectual and very emotionally mature energy from this whole pile. It feels to me like this person is really quite an introspective character. You know, they recognize that the way their ego has responded to these changes isn't healthy. It could be also that they're leaving or have already left a codependent relationship, and that this is what's created some of that financial instability as well. There's definitely been some kind of shift or move that is all encompassing. But you know, when the Hermit comes out, this someone is focused on transforming themselves, tapping into their own wisdom. And it definitely seems like, you know, they have been or want to be open with you about this. They may have gone to great lengths to reassure you it's not personal, and that they're just not in the zone of wanting to entertain romance right now. It's not that they don't see potential or connection in this relationship, just that they're not in the right place to have one. Despite that, there is a lot of love here that they're struggling to let go of. And so this really is, you know, a great deal of conflict between heart and mind, because the 4 of Pentacles is about possessiveness, and we've got the Goddess of Love here, Hathor. This is also a number 11. And so it does feel to me like, you know, there is love here that they're struggling to let go of. But, you know, they're very focused on this rebirth that I'm feeling to some degree you've triggered. So when the Knight of Swords comes up in reverse and it's clarified by the God of Battle, it does suggest to me that they are feeling quite challenged. You know, there may have been a lot of conflict in this situation. Perhaps you felt led up the garden path by them, or that they weren't entirely honest about where this connection was going. You were expecting more. And now that they've finally kind of been honest, you're feeling very much kind of, I guess, left out in the cold. And so, you know, there are feelings here of frustration. These are feelings of resentment to how you've reacted or behaved, because they do care about you very much, and they feel that they've been as clear as possible in explaining to you their circumstances and the fact that they're simply not ready for this right now. But it does feel like this conversation hasn't particularly gone well, and so they are harboring some frustration about this. They're refusing to see your perspective, and they're very much focused, you know, on their own growth and transformation right now. So this does feel like someone that's, you know, I don't think they're either avoidant or anxiously attached. As I said, this feels like someone that's got a great deal of emotional maturity. Perhaps they are older, but they're recognizing this situation for what it is. They're identifying your codependence as well. And, you know, they're not comfortable with that. It feels like they've already come out of a situation where that was a prevalent energy and they don't want to be involved with it. So, you know, they're definitely identifying some kind of neediness in you, which only exacerbates their desire to be alone and to step away from those kind of unbalanced or dysfunctional energies, because they've already been through that. You know, so even though they care about you a great deal and there's a lot of love here, they're very, very frustrated that you can't accept that. And your entire perspective is focused on, well, you know, if you cared about me, you wouldn't let me go. If you really loved me, you wouldn't let me go. And that's because that's how you perceive attachment. You know, the healthy thing to do is always to put yourself first and do what you think is right for yourself in any given moment. And, you know, they're able to kind of make these decisions themselves, but, you know, you see it from a different perspective because you refuse to release an attachment even when it doesn't serve you. You're not understanding their desire to do the same. Just realised there's a card here out on its own. I don't know how it ended up there, but that is the death card. It must have been when I picked the pile up, I've left one on the table. That was obviously meant to come out for you. Again, this is about endings and new beginnings. It perfectly syncs with this beautiful rebirth energy, but also this white rose, which is a symbol of purity and innocence. You know, this really communicates to me that you can trust what they're saying. They're not giving you lip service or trying to get you off their back. They really need some time to reconfigure their life and figure out what's right for them. And right now, they don't know what that is. They do have feelings for you, they care, but they don't know if they want a relationship right now. They feel very strongly that there are lots of things in their life that need to be resolved. And so, you know, with this joy energy, they may be up for a more casual interaction, but this person is certainly not ready for commitment. They're very self-focused. And, you know, your lack of acceptance or frustration around this is definitely causing them, you know, some difficulties, because they don't want to fall out with you. You know, they don't want this to all end in tears, but neither are they going to be pressured into moving in a direction which you want and they don't, just to save your feelings. Now, this same energy came up the other day and I wrote a community post about it. You know, part of learning about healthy boundaries is learning to be comfortable with other people's discomfort. You know, people that don't have healthy boundaries will always put other people's comfort above their own. And that's exactly what you're trying to relearn, because you don't need to put other people's comfort above your own. And if you understood that and you'd mastered that challenge and that task, you would be a lot more respectful of this person's decision. You know, it's not about you. They're simply doing what feels right and good for them. And if that makes you uncomfortable or sad or upset, well, I'm really sorry. You know, I have to do what's right by me. This is the same lesson that you're meant to be learning. So, you know, they are your unwitting teacher right now. And it feels like they're almost kind of hardwired to dig their heels in so you can get the message. Because this is a lesson you need to learn and transform in as well, is what I'm hearing. So what else do we need to know here about what's in their head versus their heart? We've got the Two of Swords in reverse, the Wheel of Fortune, the Queen of Cups. We've got the Eight of Swords in reverse, the Ace of Wands in reverse, and the Eight of Wands in reverse. So again, lots of reversals here. Let's get some animal message cards as well. We've got the Platypus, the Ladybug, the Condor, that's an eagle or hawk, the Falcon, another bird of prey, the Blue Heron, and the Spider. So again, you know, they really resent being pressured. They resent being forced to make a decision. They're indecisive, and that's it. You know, their inability to decide what's right for them at the moment isn't personal. It's not a reflection of how they feel about you. And even this platypus energy here says, stop complaining and focus your attention on the blessings in your life. This person is done with drama. I'm hearing they have a lot of it in their past. And yet despite this, they do feel the very destined, wonderful nature of this connection. The Wheel of Fortune is a very auspicious energy. You know, it's symbolic of luck. We've got this beautiful lion appearing here. And the ladybird says this is a time of good fortune and abundance. Be willing to receive all the good things in your life. You know, this person's focused on rebuilding their life and their financial stability. The Queen of Cups, for what's in their thoughts, is beautiful. You know, they do see you as a very nurturing, very loving energy, but it also says here, you're too enmeshed in this situation. Take a step back and see the bigger picture before making decisions or taking action, and that's where they're at. They need to take that step back before they make decisions because they're still trying to figure it out. Right now, being tangled up in this very dramatic, emotionally charged situation with you is really causing them to pull back. You're applying way too much pressure here. You know, in terms of feelings, they really wish that you could, and it says here, act on the opportunity that's before you and commit to it without equivocation. And so this person's really feeling into, you know, this situation and asking themselves, is this the right thing to do? There is a fear of loss here. Make no mistake, you know, whilst they want you to leave the door open for them so they can just have a bit of time to figure things out, they are concerned that during that time it might be too late, you might move on, you might not wait for them, and you know, you're not necessarily going to be patient. But also they resent that you add fuel to that particular fire. They know that you keep triggering that fear and insecurity they have. You know, well, I'm not going to wait around for you. Maybe someone better will come along. If you've made statements like this or kind of poked and prodded them deliberately, then, you know, they're seeing that for what it is and they don't like it. They don't like that fear. This is making them pull back both physically and emotionally. We've got the Ace of Wands in reverse here, which, you know, for me is a very phallic symbol. I call this card the dick stick. So, you know, they're really feeling that they need to pull back, and it says make a stand for what you believe in and do what feels right in spite of any judgment or disapproval from others. So the pressure that you're applying is really backfiring. You know, it's making them stand even more firmly. It's making them dig their heels in 10 times more deeply because they just don't see that it's fair for them to be coerced into something or a decision that they're not ready to do. And so with the Eight of Wands, you know, this is them putting the brakes on. This is moving too quick. And it says here, trust the creative spark that you're feeling and express it through writing stories that inspire and enlighten. Now, the Spider is a very industrious energy, and it feels like your person is channeling all of these frustrations into their creative work, you know, or perhaps they write to you in a very creative way. But for sure, the Spider is also the energy of solitude. You know, spiders, they don't mate for life. They live on their own in their web that they've created for themselves. They catch their own dinner. They don't need anybody else. And so your person is very, very independent. They care about you a great deal. We've got Cancer energy here that might refer to you, but they see your emotional depths. They love how pure your heart is. They feel very passionately towards you, but they're also stubbornly refusing to take heed of the manipulative tactics that you're using to try and convince them, don't let me go because you'll lose me. You know, they're asking you to lovingly accept their need for space. You know, I feel like, you know, they're making it clear, I do care, there is love here, but this isn't the right time in life for me to pursue this, and I'd really be grateful, you know, if you would give me that space to figure it out. And it reminds me of that quote, you know, set someone free, and if they return to you, you know it was meant to be. But if you've applied pressure for them to stay there, you know, you've played on their fear of loss to get what you want, you know, you're never going to be certain that they made the right decision and that they made it from a place that was connected to their own truth. So I think you're really being asked to identify your own very poor boundaries and, you know, your own very anxious attachment in this situation, because you're really, really unable to not take this situation personally. As I say, it's an alien concept to you to let go of someone you love because you feel like there's things you need to achieve for yourself. You know, you're so accustomed to putting other people first that you know, you're outraged by the suggestion that that's exactly what they want to do. It doesn't stack up for you, and this is why you struggle to accept that as truth. You just think they're making it up because they don't really want to be with you, no matter how much they assure you. 10 of Wands in reverse, Page of Cups, and the Fool. 3 of Swords in reverse, the 9 of Wands, and the Lovers in reverse. So, you know, this person doesn't want to take responsibility for this situation right now. They don't want to take responsibility for your inability to recognize, you know, when this isn't about you. We've got the Cross, the Clouds, the Whip, the Clover, the Fish, and the Grave. So when the 10 of Wands come up, this is someone that's feeling burdened and doesn't want to take responsibility. And the 6 of Pentacles is all about reciprocity and give and take. And, you know, this feeling like it's a cross to bear. Like, the minute this situation started to feel like an obligation and a responsibility rather than just them doing something because it felt good, it was like the light turned off for them and they pulled back. This is a very strong runner-chaser dynamic that we have here. You know, they are happy to show up in a friendly or casual way right now. That's what's on offer. And yet, you know, the King of Pentacles here with the Cloud. King of Pentacles is about commitment and stability, but we see that a cloud is in the way of that being achieved right now. Again, they see the potential in this connection, but something is blocking it from coming to fruition now, and they want to work that out. You know, they want to have a new beginning. And with the Page of Pentacles showing up here, they're not sure how to make that happen, but they do know that you cracking the whip isn't helping. It's only pushing them away. They're feeling that there's unresolved pain here. You know, and when the 6 of Wands come up, and again, that energy of the Clover, like lots of good luck, they do feel like there's a higher purpose, this connection for you two to help each other heal. And I'm hearing they don't think you're doing your part in that. Now, you might perceive them as not doing their part, but as I said, they're already bringing an important lesson to the table when they make clear to you self-love is doing what I need to do and having healthy boundaries to make sure I have the space to do that. And, you know, what you're presenting here is a contradiction. The 9 of Wands, you know, suggests they really don't want to give up on you. And we've got the King of Wands here, which is such a passionate energy. You know, they definitely want to show up in this connection. They want to be in the feels with it, but they don't want to allow that to go too far. The Kings are about staying in control. It's Emperor energy. And again, with the Lovers here, you know, and also this 9 of Wands, which came up here, the energy, I don't know where it came up somewhere, you know, the energy of endurance and not wanting to give up. They know this isn't the end, but neither of them are they going to be forced into it also being the new beginning. You know, they want to continue, but they're asking you if we can take baby steps. Can we just carry on getting to know each other? And, you know, what's the big rush? If we get on and we like each other, let's just spend time together and see where this leads. You know, there's no need to commit to anything right now. You know, they just don't see why that's absolutely essential. They're asking you to relax. And I'm hearing that there's just such a strong energy of impatience from you. Right, so this is the Archetypes deck. Let's get some cards from here as well. Okay, so for the head, we've got the light attributes of the damsel, the light attributes of the bully, the shadow attributes of the seeker, the shadow attributes of companion, the light attribute of the knight, and the shadow attribute of the monk or nun. Let's get some more down here as well. I'm going to get the Gods and Titans cards. Okay, so we've got Nuada, perfection, Set, chaos, and Ganesha, obstacles, Lu, skill, Zeus, leadership, and Osiris, renewal. So the light attribute of the damsel is understanding the nature of healthy romance and inspires you to rely on yourself. This person's already been through a dysfunctional relationship. I'm hearing that they were the avoidant partner in that connection, but they weren't super anxiously avoidant. They were also responding to the very challenging and demanding needs of a super codependent, anxiously attached partner. So they've learned a lot about this dynamic, and they're seeing this dynamic repeat itself in the connection they're having with you. And they don't want to go over old ground. You know, I do feel that they're trying to bring to your attention how out of balance this situation is. You know, part of them loves the idea of being the rescuer, you know, but they're also past recognizing that that's being healthy. You know, understanding the nature of healthy romance that inspires you to rely on yourself, recognizing that it's not healthy to be defined by the relationship you're in. The light attribute of the bully highlights your tendency to intimidate others, helps you confront the inner fears that bully you. And so, you know, both of you are very evolved in terms of your understanding of relationships. I feel they're very much, both of you have come from something dysfunctional and have kind of found an energy of relatability in the middle as a result of that. But you know, they are pointing out to you that these same cycles are coming up, and the shadow attribute of the seeker is inability to commit to a path once found, you know, because it's happened so quickly is what I'm hearing. Now, you know, they may be expecting too much with this energy of perfection, but the chaos of this situation is just an obstacle which they cannot ignore with this Ganesha energy. The shadow attribute of companion is their feelings, betrayal by misusing confidences and loss of personal identity. You know, i.e. they've been vulnerable enough at some point to share feelings, and now you're using those feelings as a weapon to get what you want. I.e., you know, if you don't commit, then I'm leaving. Now, I know you think you're drawing a line in the ground, but the truth is you're not leaving. You have no intention of leaving. You don't want to leave. If you're really honest with yourself, that isn't what you wanted. And you said that to keep them there. You said that so that they would stay, because you wanted to scare them into like, come on, you know, if you want to be with me, you've got to pull your socks up or you're going to lose me. And that's an ultimatum. That's a demand that's out of balance. And, you know, they're recognizing how skilled you are in this, and that those are the same codependent behaviors that you've played out in other relationships. And I say this not to shame you. It's just about being real and honest with yourself about where you're at in this, because there's beautiful potential here. But this person is repelled right now and is pulling back because of these issues. So it's really important to acknowledge them. The light attribute of the night. Loyalty, romance, chivalry, a love of honor. You know, they're trying their hardest to be respectful and to lead by example in this situation. We have the eagle again showing up here, you know, that symbol of higher perspective. They're really trying hard to see the full picture. But with the shadow attribute of the nun, it says negative judgment and excess piety, you know, and this is something they're intending to renew. You know, they're done judging. And if you've been in that judgmental energy, if you've called them cruel or, you know, accused them of being misleading somehow, you know, that they are open enough to reflect on that. But there is a resentment bubbling away here that they're really not happy with, pile 2. You know, you really need to tone this down and try and bring things back into balance. Okay, let's get some of the 7 energies oracles. Wish upon a star. Roots of abundance, endless possibilities, shining through, awakening genius, and smoke and mirrors. And from the angels and ancestors deck, the druid, hold the space, the bee, summer, bask in joy and light, spring, see your seeds grow. The hermit again, retreat and recharge. The sage, be devoted and committed. What a contradiction. And the Shaolin master, be graceful in movement and action. Wish upon a star and hold space. As I said, this person's digging their heels in, and they're absolutely determined that whatever their wishes for the future or the potential of this connection are, Right now, they're going to hold space for it, but you know, they're still going to continue grounding themselves in their own career and abundance. You know, definitely with the bee here, that is also connected to work. It's the energy of community and collective working. So, you know, this is their priority right now. It's about rebuilding financial stability. Yes, they see potential and possibilities here. They want to give this an opportunity for it to grow. You know, the light in this situation does shine through, but they feel so very passionately they need this space to retreat and recharge. And I feel like they're trying to convince you of the same. You know, they're saying to you, you need this too. Awakening genius and sage, be devoted and committed. This person's probably already on the spiritual path. Perhaps they've taken up yoga, perhaps they've taken up meditation or some other kind of practice. Shamanism is definitely indicated here with druid, sage and hermit. But you know, for sure this person is aware of the spiritual depths of this connection, and they're devoted and committed to that. And this is why they're digging their heels in, because they can see the imbalance in this connection. Smoke and mirrors. You know, that's about not being always true and authentic. And, you know, they are trying their best to be graceful in how they approach the situation. But this reveals, you know, how insecure they feel about really fronting this out. And I want to remind you that honesty requires two trustworthy people. It requires trust to be able to open up and be honest with someone. We have to trust that they're going to receive that information from a calm place, that they're not going to judge us or be harsh in their response. And so, you know, they're really saying here that I wish I could be even more honest, but it does feel like there are limitations in this connection, which mean I have to kind of dodge and dive around some of the more difficult topics. And so you've got to take responsibility for how you're receiving their honesty. The stick insect shows up here, and also this apple, and we've got this energy of the dragon behind them, which I think really demonstrates how much they're tapping in to their own spiritual understanding to try and inform this situation. They want to be fair to all concerned, is what I'm hearing, but they don't know how to satisfy you without compromising their own needs and desires at this stage in their life. You know, it feels like a battle of wills, you know, like neither one of you is prepared to compromise. And so, you know, this creates a lot of stagnant energy. So let's get some final guidance cards for you, Pole 2. We're going to get some charms as well. What's the guidance here? Oh, it's the 8 of Pentacles in reverse, the 5 of Cups in reverse, the 7 of Wands in reverse, the 9 of Swords in reverse. So many reversals here. Page of Swords in reverse. These are all the blocked energies you need to address. The 5 of Pentacles and the World. And I'm going to get some more animals for you for guidance as well, and some angels and ancestors. So we've got the walrus, the peacock and the emu. And from the angels and ancestors cards, okay, that one shouldn't be in there, but let's keep it. Beyond the ordinary. We've got High Priest and High Priestess. Oh my goodness. Powerful cosmic connection here. Stargazer and the eagle. So much eagle or bird of prey energy come through for you in this reading as well. You've got a tiger and a goat here for those of you looking for signs. Cat and a falcon over here as well, a snake and a peacock up here on the head of the High Priestess as well. I want to come to these cards first because, you know, these are mystical cosmic counterparts here. The High Priest and the High Priestess intend and create, harness mystic power, but look at how they have their backs to one another. Each of them is facing their own destiny. And what this really communicates strongly to me is that you've got to trust that when each of you brings your own energies into balance, that's when you can start moving towards stable union. Right now, both of you need to be self-focused. And as much as it pains me to tell you, your person's right. You need to honor their need for space right now. And in doing so, you create space for yourself. And rather than seeing that as losing a battle or not getting what you want, try and accept that it's a beautiful gift. You know, you two have so much power between you. I don't doubt that you've got a powerful shared cosmic mission, but you've got to let it play out as it needs to. You know, your person's probably researched what this soul connection means. As I said, they're quite intellectual and emotionally intelligent for a divine masculine energy, and they're trying to teach you as well, which is what our soulmate's meant to do, you know. Let's get some of these. Oh, what was that one that fell out? Okay, that was just the back of the charm. Just head-butted the camera there. Right. Okay, let's see what we've got here. We have got, I'm trying, and that's enough. Yes, it is. We've got the Losers Club. Interestingly, we've got the iPod, which also says, you're a loser, lol. I'm a stupid baby. Sad songs. Everything will be all right. The Two Swords. Oh la la. And the light bulb. I'm going to be really firm with you here, part 2. And I want to be clear that I'm not attacking you. You know, I'm not blaming you. This isn't about blame. No one's at fault here. It's not about pointing fingers. The only power we have is to take responsibility for ourselves. That's where the magic begins. That's where it happens. When we start looking at how we're showing up and, you know, really taking responsibility for that energy. I'm just going to move these back over here so we can read the rest of the cards. But what's required of you here? I mean, there's so many blocked energies. So many. The only two that have come up upright is the Five of Pentacles, which is the card of rejection, and the World. Now, you've got to remember that this isn't a normal relationship. It's a spiritual relationship. It's never going to function and operate like a normal relationship. And look at this Five of Pentacles here. The energy of rejection, we see they're out in the cold, stood in the shadows. The magic carpet and all the treasure is so far away and it's so triggering. And there's a little wand here. You know, they're kind of sheltering under this umbrella, under the torrent of emotion. It's such a painful energy. All of the rejection you're feeling in this connection is nothing to do with your person. I know it feels like it is, but it's actually connected to the wounds of your past, the betrayal and letdown you've already experienced, that's all coming up for healing. You know, this isn't a normal connection and it's not over. You guys can move towards completion, towards union, but there's no need to make a decision now. You can trust everything is going to be all right. There's light here. There's passion here. But there are so many blocked energies. The ego is strongly suggested here as being a barrier with the peacock, you know. And it says here with the walrus, remain vigilant about the current situation. Pay attention to the signs and omens and let them dictate your choices. This is a good time to go on a new adventure. So I want you to rewind this. If you saw your signs in this reading, I want you to rewind and go back and look at where your signs were and pay close attention to those messages that were connected to the signs you asked for. It says here, let them dictate your choices in this situation. We've got the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. This situation cannot work right now. There is too much unresolved pain under the surface to allow for this to work. And when the Seven of Wands comes up in reverse, this is an indication of very poor boundaries. You know, you can release yourself from this nightmare, but to do so, you have to recognize that the way you're communicating is born of a wounded inner child. All of this communication you're bringing forward is not born of your truth. It's that wounded inner child having a hissy fit and throwing its toys out of the pram. In fact, you're such a smart person. You know, you're very emotionally intelligent. I know that if this wasn't your situation and you could step back and be objective, you would see what I'm saying so very clearly. And it would be the same advice you would give to someone else. You know, but your pride is standing in the way of you acknowledging this about yourself. And look at all these energies that are coming through for you. Losers Club, I'm a stupid baby. You feel so much shame. You're so very triggered by the suggestion that it's you that is, you know, dropping the ball here, or you that's not doing something right. It's not about who's right or wrong. It's just about honouring our individual needs and recognising where our pain and wounding is interfering with our opportunity to do that. The sad songs one. I feel like sometimes you do kind of wallow in self-pity around this. You know, you're saying to yourself, well, why can't it be a normal relationship? Why can't I just be happy? Why can't I find someone that wants to commit? But this connection is a beautiful gift. It's such a beautiful gift. And it says this is a good time to go on a new adventure. Set your sights high and see things from a higher perspective. You are trying, and that's always enough. There's no need to beat the shit out of yourself for not seeing how your own behaviours were thwarting the attempts for this connection to move forward. It's not over. Your person's been really clear about it not being over, but they're saying, I can't do this right now. Let's just take it easy and see how it goes. Let's not rush into anything. I need a lot of space right now, so I can't commit to a regular relationship. And I'd rather under promise and over deliver. I don't want to say, yeah, let's do this, we'll see each other 3 nights a week, you know, and there'll be a commitment and routine around that, and then they feel that they can't live up to it, and then they disappoint you. You know, instead they're saying, let's just see how this goes. Let's just allow it to flow as it's meant to. And that's when you get the most authentic result. If only you could relax and allow it to happen. And I do genuinely believe that they want this. I genuinely believe they want this. I know you want it. Even though you keep saying to them, you'll lose me, I'll move on, you know you're not going to move on. You know, that is such a hollow threat. And this person senses that. It doesn't do anything to affirm your power or control in this situation. It just makes them realise that you're actually not ready. It only affirms what they know, that both of you need some room and space to heal. I feel really guided to get you some crystal cards because, you know, you've got this beautiful cosmic connection here. Absolute powerhouses. You know, both of you, when you come together, you're going to make magic happen, but you've got to face your own direction first. Your paths will come together again later down the line for certain, because you've got a divine mission together. But let's see what crystals you need to help you resolve this situation. Okay, we've got rhodochrosite. Love that stone. We've got waverlite. I don't have one of them. I'm not familiar with it. And we've got angel phantom quartz. So I don't have these two, but let me just get some rhodochrosite to show you. This is rhodochrosite. It's kind of a... hold on. This is actually a better piece. This little heart, you can see it's sort of pink. This one's actually got the tiniest spot of pyrite in it. This is a very accessible stone. I'm going to bring this up so you can read it. Pause the video and read it. You can see the headline there is Relationships, Healing and Karmic Lessons. And this is to generate more compassion. It's in the energy of Leo, Scorpio, Mars. Perhaps that's relevant to you. Waverlite. I don't actually have any of this stone. I'm going to bring it up again so you can pause the video and read it. Decisions, flow and bigger picture. So that perfectly ties in with this higher perspective and, you know, seeing things from your truth, from your higher perspective. Angel phantom quartz. I don't have any of this either. I'm going to bring this up. Faith, healing and renewal. These are all energies you need in your connection right now. Let me get one more. I don't have any of this either. I've never even heard of that. Wolfenite. Journey, past life and soul contracts. This is what you're dealing with here. Sagittarius, Venus, Mars. The journey has just begun. This is helping you travel through past, present and future. Opens up communication with the spirit world. So, you know, these aren't very accessible stones, but I think the colours are also very important. The green, of course, connects to the heart chakra. And there's a lot of work here in the lower chakras with this red colour, the root chakra, definitely the sacral and the higher chakra. This is the soul star chakra, the pink, which is just above the crown. And it does say here faith and healing. And this is an angel quartz. Angel phantom quartz. I don't know what angel phantom quartz is, but I'm guessing it's an aura coated quartz, a phantom quartz that's been aura coated. Phantom quartz is quite hard to find these days, but remember, if you can't get any of these, you can always use clear quartz. Clear quartz can be programmed with any energy, so you can look at what the energies that are required here in these cards and program them into your clear quartz. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope that was helpful. I'm going to take this over to the extended. So if this resonated for you, you can join me over there. The link is in the description box below. We're going to go a lot deeper. I want to get some messages from your person's higher self as well to help clarify their thoughts and feelings. We're definitely going to look at what their intentions are and what's coming next so you can prepare for that. And of course, we're going to bring forward a ton more guidance. So hopefully I'll see you over there. But thank you so much for joining me here. It's been such a privilege to read for you again. I really, really love doing these readings, and I'm so grateful that you tuned in today. Thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you so much for your beautiful comments. I love to read your feedback. And thank you so much to the very, very, very generous souls that watch my commercials, send donations via PayPal or send me decks. I appreciate you guys so much. All of those energy exchanges absolutely make my day and really help to keep my channel going. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hello, Pile 3. Welcome to your reading. You have chosen a She-Wolf Tarot with this lovely piece of carnelian, and we are asking today, what is in your person's head and what is in their heart? What are they thinking about you in this connection, and what are they feeling? Now, we're going to go really deep and get all the details. We're going to use the oracle cards and charms as well. Take a moment to just take a nice long deep breath. Hold your person in mind. Set the intention that you're ready to receive the messages from Spirit that you need the most. You can ask for a sign if you would like to. A sign can be anything at all that feels right to you. It's just something that Spirit can bring through in the reading, or perhaps even, you know, outside of the reading, to help validate the messages that come through. And this could be anything like an object, a symbol, a stone, a specific god or goddess or deity, an animal, a flower, anything at all, a word, numbers, colours, whatever works for you. And you may notice that that sign appears not just in your reading, but in your zone of awareness too. And that's just Spirit saying, we've got your back, we're listening, pay attention to the signs, the syncs, the messages that are meant for you. I have to say, I'm a little bit pumped. I had a break between pile 2 and pile 3, and I've just received delivery of some crystals, and I will share with you what crystals they are and where I got them in a future video, but I'm absolutely buzzing. There was one particular crystal in this order. Even before I opened the box, I could feel the big vibes. I've never had such a powerful reaction to a crystal in my life. It actually made me really emotional. I had a little cry. I feel really silly saying that, but it was just stunning. I've got it here next to me. I don't want to show you because I want to do a big reveal, because I'm going to do a giveaway from this order later on. But stay tuned. I'll probably do it next week or the week after. I'm just waiting for some other stuff to arrive as well. Anyway, let's get on with your reading, pile 3. I'm going to be real with you. They've been very triggering readings today. I never know what's going to come through. But as always, you know, my readings are not candy-coated. They're all about facing some of the more difficult truths that we're not acknowledging, and, you know, helping you heal and move forward in a productive way. If you're new to my channel, it might be a bit of a shock to your system. So this is your trigger warning. You know, my readings aren't all candy and roses. You know, they're very real. We look at the real energies, light and dark, that are presenting, and you know, it's all about helping you develop more self-awareness about how you're contributing to the energies of this connection. Anyway, let's do this. I love this deck, this She-Wolf Tarot. It's one of my new favourites. I love the coppery shiny sides especially. So you have very good taste if you chose this one. It's one of my favourites. Okay. Let's do this, pile 3. What's in your person's head versus what's in their heart? Let's start with the head. What's in their head? We've got the Page of Wands in reverse. We've got the 5 of Cups and the 8 of Cups. And what's in their heart? The Star in reverse, the 9 of Wands, and the Fool in reverse. I get a lot of pain, a lot of anguish from these cards. Your person's really sad right now. They're really sad. They're really upset about what's happened between you. Let's get some oracle cards here as well. I'm going to start with the Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine deck. So we've got openness, joy. So interesting. These came out in pile 2 as well. And we've got miscommunication. We've got God of Wisdom, Thoth. Goddess of Nurturing, Kuan Yin. I love her, such compassionate energy. And unconditional love. I have to say, straight off the bat, this person cares about you very much, and they're absolutely heartbroken at the way things have panned out between you. You know, this is someone that I do feel they're quite immature. You know, they've not handled the situation between you very well, but they really do care. There is a lot of sincerity, a lot of very, very lovely, warm, fuzzy energies here, and they're absolutely bereft at the moment. I definitely feel that there's been some kind of conflict or separation between you. This was definitely connected to them not being able to commit. We've got the Page of Wands in reverse, and you know, I don't think this person knows how to have a mature relationship. They may not have had one before even, and they're trying to be as open with you as possible and to set your expectations so that you're not disappointed, but they just don't feel confident moving forward. And we'll get some more information about that as we go. But beneath all of this, there's some very deep unresolved grief. You know, this person, I don't know that they're very experienced in love. For sure, there's been some kind of betrayal in their past that they're still grieving. And you know, this is such an interesting Five of Cups, because we see this person observing their shadow and the snake here, which is a symbol of transformation and creation. But look how naked and vulnerable they are. You know, they feel so exposed, so grief-stricken. So they've been trying to just inject some playfulness and fun into this connection. And I feel like this just wasn't enough for you. In fact, this is probably the common theme in all of today's piles, is the feeling that the divine feminine isn't receiving enough from her counterpart. That this person, you know, they don't want to leave this behind. And I feel like it culminated in some kind of argument, you know, some back and forwards conflict. You've ended up blocking them or shutting them down and saying, I'm done. You know, there's definitely been some miscommunication here, and that's not what they wanted. They didn't want to fall out with you. They didn't want this to be over. You know, they want you in their life. So they're really thinking, you know, that they've made a real pig's ear of this. They're very, very sad about what's happened. It's triggered a lot of old wounding, a lot of old pain, and they just did not see this coming. And I'm hearing that you've been so very devoted. You know, you may have told this person, your soulmates or twin flames, that you've got this spiritual connection, and that made them feel so very special. They really loved how devoted you were to this connection. But they took that unconditional love thing really literally. So they're very confused now that, you know, you've seemed to have gotten really annoyed that your conditions weren't being met. You know, and this miscommunication here, this came up also in pile 2, different circumstances. But you see here that the divine feminine energy here, she's focused on the number 6. This is the number of love. But this masculine is focused on number 9, which is the energy of solitude. And so it just feels like this masculine, you know, they need space to heal right now. They feel very nervous and apprehensive about going into a relationship. You know, they're very scared of being hurt again, but they don't want to give up. You know, they do want to continue growing and learning with you, and they're really bewildered how it's come to this. Now, as I said, I do think they're a bit immature and a bit inexperienced when it comes to romantic liaisons, and I think you probably saw this coming, and there's been a slow build up towards this breakdown. But you know, they really genuinely didn't feel that. They've lost all hope in this connection. You know, part of them still trusts in the energy of your devotion and the eternal nature of this connection. You know, that wisdom sort of peeks through and nudges them. But because of how strongly you stepped back and put the wall up, you know, they really do feel absolutely hopeless, and they don't want to give up. They want to persevere. They are compassionate and understanding of what you want and what your needs are. Just because they can't deliver on them doesn't mean they don't hear them, and they genuinely want what's best for you. But, you know, this new beginning that you've been asking for, I feel like, you know, look at this energy of unconditional love. Again, we've got the goddess of nurturing here, Kuan Yin, that energy of compassion. It just feels like this person is really misunderstanding, or perhaps you're miscommunicating what unconditional love means, how they're meant to show up in this connection, and also how that challenges what they feel they need for themselves right now, because, you know, for sure it feels like they've been open with you. And I don't want to say they're playing the field, but this person feels like they need to keep their options open. It's certainly, I don't get the energy of disrespect that they're playing you at all, even though it may feel that way. You know, you may be interpreting their resistance towards commitment as a desire to kind of keep their options open and to play the field. I don't think this is what this person's about. I think they're actually very, very apprehensive about any kind of intimacy right now. They don't feel confident enough to have a relationship because they don't think they have enough to bring to the table. But, you know, they do feel the deep mutual love in this connection. They know it's real. They feel it. You've worked very hard to express it. They're not as good at expressing themselves, and they're really regretting that now because they know that you don't believe in the energy and power of their love, and yet they just don't know how to say it. And they're very afraid that if they come forward and say these things to you, then you've kind of crossed the point of no return, and that your expectations are going to grow. And because they're so apprehensive about getting really deeply involved, you know, this is why they hold back, because they don't want to disappoint you. They don't want you to have any false hope. It definitely does feel like this is a very soulful connection. Of course, in your case, it could be twin flame or soulmate, or perhaps it's none of those things. But either way, this person feels that deep bond. And, you know, you have been such a guiding light through this dark period of their lives. Definitely you're showing up as this very nurturing mentor, teacher type of energy. You know, they feel so very blessed to have met you. And, you know, I'm even hearing they're saying, I wouldn't have survived without these interactions. Like, they have been such a catalyst in me, you know, I don't want to say healing, because I don't feel that they're healed, but it's been that you've been such a catalyst in them at least holding on to the rope and, you know, trying to move forward. This person's been in a really dark place. They've really not known how to handle that, how to move forward with their lives. And you've been like this little shining light in their life that's just helped elevate them out of the shadows a lot of the time. They really built up a great deal of trust. And so you stepping back in such a dramatic way has really triggered their trust. You know, they were never trusting anyway, but because this connection's gone on so long, it's become such a deep and profoundly beautiful friendship above all else. They're really shocked that it's ended like this. They definitely didn't ever expect this to have been the result of things, and they're devastated. You know, they're devastated. They're questioning everything they thought they knew. We've got the Lovers in reverse, Lust in reverse, and the Hanged Man in reverse. We've got the Nine of Cups, the Six of Cups, and the Four of Cups in reverse. Such deep energies here, they really are. It's giving me goosebumps. The Camel, the Cat, and the Chimpanzee or the Monkey, and the Boar or Wild Pig, the Penguin, and the Tortoise. So there is something powerful stopping this person from having a relationship, and I'm hearing a loss of libido, a loss of desire, just a genuine, a very genuine and sincere apathy towards anything, not just romance. You know, this person's really not in a good place. They're unable to see a way out of their pain. You know, and it says here, use your intuition and your intellect to solve the problem or get answers to your questions. And this is where you've been assisting them. You know, this is where you've been such a strong, supporting presence in their life, because you help them see this new perspective, this different perspective. But it says here with the Camel and Lovers in reverse, you know, this is about having enough resources. And of course, the camel stores all of that water up. And water is the element that represents the energy of emotion. It's connected to our emotional body. So, you know, it feels like this person's repressing all of this emotional depth. You know, they're unable to express it to you, even though it's there beneath the surface. The cat is a symbol of independence. And it says here, this is a time to stride out on your own and relinquish your over-dependency on others. You know, they're reflecting on this really toxic relationship in their past, and they realize, I can't ever do that again. I can't ever put myself through that. I can't ever have such an unhealthy attachment again that makes me so vulnerable to loss and rejection. That's burned them so fiercely that they are, you know, even though you've been so devoted, so trustworthy, they don't trust themselves. It's not about not trusting you, it's about not trusting themselves. And this person really just doesn't feel worthy of you. They've really put you on a pedestal. They think of you as being someone so accomplished, so much better than who they are, and they see that you deserve someone better. And so this is why they keep you at arm's length. They're absolutely convinced if they let you get too close, if they reveal feelings and let themselves be vulnerable, that at some point you're going to realize that they're not everything you thought they were, and you're going to leave. Now, this is the energy of self-sabotage, because that's exactly what's happened. Their refusal to come close to you, their refusal to reciprocate, their refusal to give something back, you know, this desperate need to keep themselves under lock and key. And it feels like you finally become exhausted and tired of waiting for this person to you know, to share something special with you. They see you as such an emotionally charged and balanced person. They see you as so strong. You know, it says here, face your problems head on with confidence and courage. And they really see this about you. And this is what overwhelms them and makes them feel so inferior. Not to say that you should dim your light to help them feel okay. You know, these are their insecurities that they have to resolve. But, you know, they see you and they just think, you know, this is someone with immense confidence and strength. They're going to realize how weak I am. They're going to realize that I'm not nearly as grown, and they're going to end up leaving me. And so your greatness is really very triggering for them. They know that you are a soulmate, and this is a very twin flamey image. This is a very cool transgender image here. We see two ladies, mirror images of each other. I'm pretty sure they have, actually, I don't know if that is an appendage. I think that's just the gap, the thigh gap revealing what's behind, but it looked a bit transgender there to me. Anyway, they understand this is a twin flame connection. They understand this is a soul connection. If it's not that, they understand there's something deep and meaningful here. But this period of darkness that they've been passing through has inhibited them from truly stepping into and embracing this. You know, they feel really determined to take time out for themselves, to lick their wounds and heal. It says here, you're too fragmented. You know, that they need to do whatever they need to do to get grounded again. This is someone whose soul has been shattered into pieces through the trauma of a previous experience. And so, you know, home is on the back with the tortoise, slow and steady. They're not in any rush to get through this. I'm hearing they don't even know how to heal. You know, but they do feel very passionately about you. You know, all of these energies are there. They're just very much repressed. And this person is not a position in their life where they can actually bring that forward and communicate it, express it, or actually become that energy. They're so very intimidated by the depth of this connection. In fact, what I'm hearing is that, you know, if this was more shallow and if there wasn't feelings or emotions here, that they would probably be able to proceed with a lot more confidence. But it's the sheer intensity and overwhelm of this energy that makes it so very difficult for them to really step into it in a courageous way. They really are very much out in the dark, out in the cold. Queen of Pentacles in reverse, the Sun and the Ace of Cups, the Knight of Swords in reverse, the King of Wands, and the Nine of Swords. So again, we see that depression, that darkness, that inner pain coming through here. Let's use these cards. This is the Seven Energies Oracle, or Oracle of the Seven Energies. I always forget. We've got a tall tale, roots of abundance, and great and full, bearing fruit, beyond the ordinary, and the roses kiss. So, you know, above all else, it feels like you began to feel like you were literally flogging a dead horse. You know, you were beating a dead horse. There was no energy left to work with here. And it felt like that in order for you to detach and release those expectations which you knew weren't healthy, you simply had to let go. The issue here is that you perhaps didn't do that in the calmest way. It was a knee-jerk, impulsive decision born of some kind of disagreement, you pressing again. And I think this person has told you that they won't have a relationship with you, or that they're not ready to have a relationship with anybody. This is clarified by the Pinocchio card, a tall tale, and I genuinely don't think this is true. I feel like they've actually said that to liberate you because they know they can't deliver on what you want, and they know that you're finding the waiting game really challenging. So this person's been cruel to be kind. I really don't think what they meant, what they said when they said, look, this is never going to happen. You know, I really don't think they meant that. You know, what they really want is just to find their own light again. They want to feel happy and stable and carefree again. They want to find their roots in abundance once more. I'm hearing this person doesn't have a lot. You know, then maybe they don't work at all, but they don't have much material stability or financial stability. They just don't feel like they have anything to offer you, anything stable and real to offer you. And yet this love is here. Look how explosive it is, and yet they can't help but perceive it as dark. And look how reluctant this person is. They're reaching out, they want to touch it, they're lost at sea. But there's so much shadow that inhibits them from seeing the truth of this connection. We have the Ace of Cups represented here again, great and full. You know, their heart is overflowing for you, but they're so very scared to approach it. They keep convincing themselves that if they allow themselves to sink into this energy and, you know, enjoy it and to take it for themselves, that they then have to face the fear, the risk of losing it, the risk of rejection. That's a lesson they are not prepared to repeat. And so this is why they don't take action, and they're giving you space. You know, when you've said I'm done, they're respecting that. This person isn't going to chase you. And I don't think you said this with an agenda to, you know, go no contact so that they would come running after you. But I think this is very clear that, you know, they're going to trust that this connection will grow in the way it needs to grow. It will bear fruit if it's meant to bear fruit. They're not going to press you because they don't feel like they deserve you anyway. So, you know, there's nothing for them to convince you of. You know, they've been as honest as they can be at this stage. They do feel all this passion and power in your connection. They recognize the divine alignment of divine masculine and feminine energies. They understand this is beyond the ordinary, another worldly connection. But this person is feeling so very down. You know, this is serious depressive energy here. Someone that's experiencing a dark night of the soul. And, you know, even though they need this independence right now, you know, your presence in life was like a kiss to their soul. We've got the roses kiss here, a ladybug there for those of you that are looking for signs. And we've got snakes here as well. But this is such a beautiful energy throughout the whole reading. This person holds you in very, very high regard. They've never met anyone like you. You know, and they feel so privileged and so very honoured to have met somebody like you, you know, and it breaks their heart that this connection is hurting you. Prior to this breakdown, you've been so brave and so strong, and you've always said to them, you know, I just want you to be happy. We don't have to be together. I've learned to be good on my own. I've released codependence. But I think you've got to be really honest with yourself, because the way you've handled this situation, you know, you've wobbled out of alignment, you've felt the pressure of that waiting, and, you know, that lack of union that you really anticipated and deep down really wanted has finally kind of uprooted all of that grounded, healthy energy that you've worked so hard to receive. And these were shadow aspects that you were refusing to acknowledge, which is why it's finally got the better of the situation. It was always going to come out in the wash. So this person's bewildered because you've always reassured them, my love is unconditional. You don't have to give anything in return. I don't love you so you will love me back. I just love you because that's my authentic truth, and da-da-da-da-da. But in truth, there was a part of you that still longed for this. There was a part of you that was still hurting that this person couldn't return that love to you. And so this shows that, you know, the shadow aspects that they're feeling is still in you too. There is still healing to be done here. But, you know, this person loves you. They love you very, 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 very much. But they have no idea how to step into that. We've got the Ace of Wands in reverse, the Chariot in reverse, and the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. We've got Aeon. We've got the Six of Swords in reverse. and we've got the Page of Pentacles. And let's just get some of these little cards here. This is the Under the Roses Lenormand. Oh, okay, we've got Garden and those turned over, so we're going to keep them. We've got Child, the Fox, the Stork, and the Dog. And the Bouquet. So respectively, these are 8 of Swords, Page of Swords, 9 of Pentacles, Queen of Cups, 10 of Cups, Queen of Swords. I just want to quickly check the book for Aeon. I've not pulled that card out before. I'm looking at the image and I feel like I can interpret it, but I just want to see what the author had to say about this particular card. It doesn't have a number on it, which is my pet hate when we can't actually figure out where in the book is what, because there's no numbers. Divine Feminine, Divine Masculine, Saturn, Mercury, the Secret Arcana. Oh, here we go. Aeon, Judgment. Okay, so if there'd been a number on that, I would have known. So this is the Judgment card. It says it's related to Scorpio, which I don't normally associate it with Scorpio, but we'll take the author's word for it. The star goddess Nui or Nut bends herself over the sun where a phoenix sets itself aflame. The phoenix is a symbol of eternal birth and renewal, and an Ouroboros encompasses 2 women holding an ankh, the ancient Egyptian symbol for eternal life. The Ouroboros further drives the message of eternity home, this time with the aspect of infinite cycles and oneness. So this is a very twin flamey Judgment card. A powerful, powerful energy here. You know, you've got these divine feminine energies holding the ankh, the flame, and actually the way this presents, this image here, is very similar to how twin flame energy looks. There's a counterpart on each side, there's a center point, and there are flames at the bottom. I refer to them as flames of purpose. They're all about divine mission, but this is a very twinny card. But let's start with their thoughts, because the Ace of Wands and the Chariot and the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, you know, this is someone that has no plan or strategy to move forward. They don't know what to do next. You know, the Garden, despite being open to them, and this is another number 20 like Judgment, the 8 of Swords here inhibits them from taking action. All of their limiting beliefs, all of those intrusive, ugly, dark, shadowy thoughts literally stop them from, actually disable them from taking action, because they don't have clarity. All they're seeing is the shadow. They can't see the light clearly, and so they have no motivation and desire. They're completely out of alignment with the divine plan. And again, with this Page of Swords energy here represented as the child, you know, this again references the very immature communication that is devoid of the emotional depths that you need to feel satisfied, but they don't know how to step out of that. When the Knight of Pentacles comes up in reverse, this is the energy of someone not having a plan or strategy, or not knowing what to do to move forward. And yet we've got the Fox here. The Fox is a very strategic creature, and the 9 of Pentacles is all about abundance. It's about self-sufficiency. So certainly the only thing this person knows that they need to do is to get back on their feet, you know, to try and restore their sense of personal value and self-worth by, you know, doing something productive with their lives. It definitely feels like this person's either been out of work or really struggling with what they may deem to be a dead-end career path. And so, you know, this person's very sad. The only way out they see is to better themselves materially, and yet they know you're not that shallow, but this is how their ego perceives it and what their ego perceives as being a priority. You know, when Judgment comes up, and I'm really intrigued that there's 2 divine feminines here, you know, this suggests to me that they're still torn between you and the experience they've had with this other partner. We've got the Stork here, and also this is Queen of Cups or Cancerian energy. But, you know, the Stork also refers to the arrival of something that was perhaps thwarted. Of course, Judgment is the arrival of the angel. You know, hark, the angel sings. It calls us to attention, calls our soul to respond. And so I do think that there's some karmic imbalances still there, even though they may not be in that relationship. There is definitely a lot of grief and a lot of pain still associated with that connection, which blurs the boundaries of this one. They don't want to move on. You know, we've got the dog here and the 10 of Cups. They definitely saw, respected and adored the eternal nature of this connection. They loved how deep and beautiful a companion you've been, how loyal you've been. 10 of Cups is actually union energy, you know, and look, they're holding a yellow rose here. Look how sad that little dog looks. It's like, I was still being loyal to you. I just wasn't able to fulfill your expectations. And this is a number 18 card as well, which relates to the energy of the moon, which is all about uncertainty, fear, you know, disillusionment. And so they're just so very sad. They're so very sad about this. They didn't want this to end. They don't want to move on. They don't want to be without you. And yet they can't be with you in the way you want them to either. The Page of Pentacles, you know, this is someone that's trying very hard at least to figure it out. You know, we saw here in their head they don't know what to do, but their heart knows they need to do something. We've got the bouquet here again, which is the suggestion, I need to make an offer. These are 2 9s as well. Remember the rose's kiss? All this beautiful energy that you delivered to them, that selfless, loving energy. They feel the need to step up and do that. And the fact that this is Queen of Swords energy, I feel that they're going to honour you with some communication. Possibly a gift, you know, possibly a peace offering. But the Queen of Swords is all about truth. And so it feels like they're kind of building up and planning on how to try and communicate with you to resolve this in the future. They know you're going to come back round. You know, there's a little chink of them that trusts in the eternal nature of this connection and is sure that you're going to come back round. They're not 100% confident, and the thought that you won't is really devastating for them. But they're thinking to themselves, if I get another shot at this, I have to offer something, even if it's just my words and truth. I have to try and bring this into balance. So I really feel for this person. You know, I really think they're trying to be as honest and real with you as they can be, given their present circumstances and state of mind. So let's get some final guidance cards for you as well. I'm going to take this over to the extended in about 10 minutes. In the extended, we're going to go deeper in thoughts and feelings. We're going to get some messages from their higher self. I want to take a look at what their intentions are, you know, what they're planning on doing next as well, to help you prepare and get some guidance around that. But let's just wrap this part up with some guidance here. I'm going to get some charms and oracles as well. Wow. 10 of Cups. This is beautiful. Oh my goodness. The 4 of Wands. You couldn't have asked for a more perfect combination to come up to reassure you, right? And the 6 of Wands, the energy of victory and triumph. The 2 of Wands, wow. The 6 of Pentacles, Divine Masculine in reverse. That's the Emperor in reverse. Okay, I want to get some of these Gods and Titans cards as well. We've got Set, Chaos, Lu, Skill, Vulcan, Inventiveness, and finally these archetype cards. I want to get some of these out. What are the archetype cards? So the shadow attribute of the Fool, the shadow attribute of the Judge, and the shadow attribute of the Guide. Let's get some charms as well. Whoop. Okay, one flew out there. What was it? It was the White Rabbit. So you've got so many twinny symbols here. You've got the light and dark counterparts. You've got the yin yang symbol. And you also have the twin quartz. There is no doubt that your person knows what this connection is. We've also got fake news, the acorn, I'm a stupid baby, the gramophone, the map, and the vinyl record player. 2 musical symbols there for you. Pile 3, 10 of Cups, 4 of Wands, 6 of Wands. These are very reassuring energies. This is asking you to trust in the eternal nature of this connection. Trust that it can be victorious. But the goal here is to keep choosing you, to keep following your own truth. Look, this person's out here on their own and they've got mountains to climb. You know, the only decision you need to make is to keep choosing you. The Six of Pentacles here is all about reciprocity. And we see here that the eagle comes with this higher perspective. What's it carrying here? It's carrying this little symbol. I don't know what that means. Maybe someone can let us know in the comments. But you see that this divine feminine energy, she's pregnant. She has the world in her hands. But she's comfortable, naked and vulnerable in her solitude. She's able to give without reciprocity in an unconditional way because she has everything she needs. Again, you're being asked to step back into that same higher perspective that you've already reached in previous times. You've already climbed this mountain. You've just come tumbling back down and you're feeling the effects of that. Your person is still in distorted masculine energy. They're not ready. You can't make them ready. You can only keep making yourself ready. All of this chaos is a result of you having tumbled down that mountain. Nothing more, nothing less. You know, and you have the skill and access to the truth and wisdom, you know, to help you get back there. I'm again guided to all of this blue here. You know, you have the skills and the tools you need to recover that vibration you were in before where you felt so much better. And you're being asked to be creative about this and to be creative about how you deal with your person. In fact, the sword of truth is down on the ground here and he's holding this kind of I don't know what you call that. It's a mallet, a hammer of some kind. You know, he looks quite aggressive and confrontational. So, you know, I feel like you're being guided against this to trust in triumph and to put the hammer down and pick up the sword, to be more creative in how you resolve this. The shadow attribute of the fuel says using humor to wound rather than to liberate, denial of your emotional truth. So, you know, I think maybe you've been somewhat passive aggressive. You know, you may have said some very disparaging things, but in a playful way, or don't be silly, I was joking. You know, you're being asked to be aware of how sensitive your person's self-esteem and ego is right now. And, you know, that you have triggered them very, very much by pulling back this way. And they're now questioning, was this even real? You know, was this just a fake thing? Are we really twins? Did she really mean that? What's the real truth here? You know, they're now questioning it all. The shadow attribute of the judge, offering only destructive criticism. You know, so again, it feels like you've stepped out of that divine feminine nurturing energy, that energy of Kuan Yin, and you've tumbled down that mountain, you've fallen into a lower vibration, and you've fallen into old patterns of behavior. You need to reflect on the communication that you two have exchanged, because I feel that when you do, you're going to identify and recognize how you've actually been quite harsh in some respects. Shadow attribute places financial gain and control over imparting spiritual insight. And so, you know, perhaps I'm trying to feel into that because they've got distorted masculine energy with this. You know, perhaps there's some kind of impulse to get them involved in your own spiritual mission or spiritual activities. Or maybe it's the case that, you know, you're prioritizing work over doing that, something that you should do. You're going to have to read into what that means to you. But definitely there's been a misuse of power here and an ill-dignified focus on the material world as far as your connection's concerned. But quite simply, pile 3, your person isn't ready. They still feel so inferior to you. They feel so immature. They don't feel like they have enough to bring to the table. But you've got to trust. You know, the map shows you that you're both going to meet in the heart space. You know, you might be in this neutral friend zone right now, but you've got to trust. You've got union energies and victory energies coming up here to reassure you. The musical sign is certainly important for you too. Music is a very important aspect of your connection, whether it's the case that either one of you is a musical artist or involved in the music or arts, or perhaps it's just the case that you're both very passionate, avid listeners of music, and that you share a lot of music between you. This person shared a song with you really recently, and you need to pay attention to the lyrics in that song because they're very, very revealing. Stop being in a rush. I know you think that the clock's ticking, but it really isn't. You can just relax, you know, allow this to be a seed. Remember, this reminds me of the quote. It came up in a reading the other day. I can't remember who said it, but it was the day we plant the seed is not the day we pick the fruit. If you go and pick an acorn from your garden right now and stick it in a pot of earth, it's going to be a long time before you have a tree. Now, trees grow really slowly. Okay, it's not going to be that slow. Trees grow really slowly, but they live for hundreds of years. But, you know, you do have to allow the seed to be nurtured. And think about what happens when we plant a seed. You know, you stick it beneath the surface, you keep watering it. But if you keep digging it up, you know, to see what's happening beneath the surface, you're going to disrupt the natural evolution of the growth that's required. You can't keep digging it up and seeing what's happening and getting impatient. And I think this is what's happened here. You've really been pressing your person. Where is this going? You know, I want a relationship, and I get that you don't want one, but what are the prospects for the future? And I think rather than them say, yes, I'm all in, we're going to do this in the future, they didn't want to let you down. They were thinking, oh my God, what if I'm never ready for this and she's ended up waiting for me? Then I'm going to feel terrible. You know, so the only thing they could do is say, I don't know. I don't know that I'm going to want that. And that was honest, but it was also very difficult for you to receive because you've already waited. And so naturally, you know, you've gone, well, stuff this, I'm out of here. You know, I'm not waiting anymore if you can't even give me some reassurance that there's a potential here for the future. But how could they? They only know that they can't do this now, that right now it doesn't feel right. They don't know what's going to happen in the future. They would hope that they'd get better and they'd feel more capable of showing up in a committed way. But they don't know that. They don't know that they can definitely do that. So I'm going to take this over to the extended. If this has resonated for you, you can join me there. The link is in the description box below. Thank you so much though for joining me here. I really hope this helped. Please tell me in the comments below. I love to read your feedback, and it really helps inform, you know, the kind of readings I do when you let me know how you felt about what's come forward today. Thank you so much for hitting the like button. Thank you for subscribing. And thank you so very much to the very, very generous souls that exchange energy with me by watching the commercials, by sending me donations, or by sending me decks. You guys are so special, and I appreciate your kindness so very much. Those of you that watch my adverts, honestly, that is the most perfect energy exchange, because it's just 1 minute of your time and it means the absolute world to me. It makes the hugest difference to my channel, because YouTube receive revenue when you watch one of the adverts. I get a tiny percentage of that, and because you're watching the adverts, they think, well, this Charlotte's channel is great, people watch the adverts, let's promote her more, and that means they recommend me more, and these readings, these messages find their way to more people. So thank you so much. That's such a perfect energy exchange. But thank you to those of you that do send me gifts. You're so very sweet. And to those of you that send me donations, you special souls, if you do send me a gift or donation, please include your postal address so I can honor that with a handwritten thank you note and some little treats in the post. I love doing that, and it really is a pleasure for me to thank you that way. But thank you for tuning in here today. I appreciate you guys so much, and I will see you next time. Lots of love. Bye.